Appreciate that today. We're very happy to be here. And today, Ramteen and I are really going to talk about something a lot of people in the security world may not realize right out of the bat is that out-of-band management networks actually are a good fit and have a lot of alignment to security activity. It's not just the networking group. When I was listening to Tracy talking about eBPF, boundaries, edge, zero trust, there's a lot of those concepts that out-of-band can actually complement and open up some new ways of doing those things. So we'll take some of those examples and show those today. So I'm Director of Sales Engineering, Ramteen. Do you want to go ahead and you can introduce yourself and we'll get going?
Sure. Thanks, Dan. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Ramteen Rampor. I'm a technical marketing engineering here at Opengear, and let's jump into it.
Excellent. So just in case you're maybe not familiar with out-of-band management or Opengear, we've got 20 years of experience in this field. We've historically provided solutions for network engineers to remotely access and remediate their networking equipment. But that a lot of that's changing now, and it's really expanding to a wider audience and organizations. So if you next slide, Ramtin, if you look at an out-of-band solution, they traditionally represent out-of-band appliances that are connecting over a secure VPN or other tunnel up to a central management piece. Network engineers would come in, they would access this like a proxy, and they would do what they need to do on their remotely, and it's a completely separate management plane for them. But our solution and out-of-band management solutions are not just for the networking group. There's other groups that can use this, and that's what we want to try to highlight among other things today. So let's kind of look at the legacy and see, where it was and some of the problems with that and where it's going and how that, is beneficial.
Sure. Yeah. Traditionally, the legacy network was comprised of a production and a management network infrastructure. So you usually had a segregated network that would manage your production environment, and we usually connected as and acted as a console server and a resilient out-of-band solution should something go wrong. Over the time, this collapsed into essentially a single production network with a bunch of slices taken off to manage the rest of your environment. However, this presented some issues because as you slice your production network to manage the same network, if something happens, if something goes wrong with a particular appliance, or if your network goes down, you don't have a separate network to manage it.
Yeah. The idea is we always say don't manage your network with your management. Instead, what we really recommend doing is use your existing out-of-band management and overlay that with a management network, both physically separated and otherwise separated from your production network.
Absolutely correct. So in a modern environment, as everybody is almost starting to separating their management network and production network again, we see that there's a lot of cost involved in building a management network. You would have to get hardware, routers, switches, gears to build that environment and then hook it back into production so you can manage it. So what we've done over the past few years is actually worked on building that network ourselves. So you can actually utilize your same out-of-band solution to have a smart management fabric environment that manages both your underlying physical infrastructure as well as access to connected resources that are more in the cloud or virtualized based like VNFs. Now, we're preaching to the choir here. I'm sure you guys all know, but some of the predictions that we've seen recently from CIOs and CTOs, AI automation and cybersecurity are at the top of mind of all leaders at this point. And we know that the number of cybersecurity attacks, especially ransomware, is going to increase over time. And with the enhancement of AI and automation, this is going to significantly get worse and worse. So we need to do everything that we can to protect our environment and our customers and our network at all costs. Cisco has something that's been around for over 2 decades called Cisco Safe, which is the secure architecture for everybody. This basically talks about your entire network infrastructure, everything from the cloud to edge, from a small closet to your entire data center. And what we're going to today focus on is your out-of-band management network. Again, it's that separate network that manages your network. And that's the blue line that you can see here that is inside the safe architecture. And today we're going to talk about some logging, some security, recovery, and monitoring.
Yeah, let's take a look at some actual examples. We've got four that we kind of picked, and hopefully we can get to them all in time. So the first one that we're going to talk about is we're going to put them in the context of whether it's a first day or every day when the network's up and running, or if there's a really bad day and you need to remediate or rebuild your network. So let's look at the first one. The first real plus here is that you want to have a network isolation and emergency access. So out-of-band management networks create that dedicated path. The networks face threats internally and externally, and reliance on a single network for the management can introduce significant vulnerability.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So generally what happens is organizations use this multi-layer security measure to make sure that nobody is able to get in, or if there's an inside actor, they don't have access to as many things as they should. So out of band provides you that everyday accessibility to ensure that only the people that need to get to the things they need have access. And also there's a separate isolated management traffic that you can use for an alternate pathway should something go wrong. So on a worst day basis, your production network goes down, a particular appliance inside your network goes down. Having an out-of-band access, having an out-of-band solution gives you that alternate access to go in and remediate the problem. Or at some point, if it's a small enough closet, you can actually use it as your internet connectivity while you're resolving the problem. And then once the production network is back up and running, you can go ahead and turn off the management network.
All right. The next one is secure deployment and recovery using out-of-band. Cyber threats require a secure, resilient network architecture capable of rapid recovery and redeployment. Patching and secure deployment practices are essential, but they may not be quick enough to recover from a sophisticated attack.
That's absolutely correct. So on an everyday basis, when we talk about what are the advantages of having an out-of-band solution, you always try and get those zero-day attacks. You always try to basically patch as fast as needed. But what happens if you're one of the first people that is affected by the zero-day and you don't get to it fast enough? So basically having the ability to fully rebuild and redeploy your infrastructure from scratch. Let's say you're impacted by a ransomware where you don't have the capability to really do anything, you're completely locked out. You can rebuild and redeploy using the out-of-band solution because it's a completely separate network fabric with a separate set of tools, appliances, and operating system. And on your everyday use cases, essentially, because we're unaffected by the primary network because it's a completely different solution and infrastructure, you know that you're not going to be impacted by the same security risks, but you can use it to access your primary network and resolve any issues that you may see.
Okay, so the next one relates to monitoring, compliance, and stealthy security. These are crucial, but visible security activities can tip off unauthorized users, including potential hackers. So, security teams are implementing logging, they're running playbooks, they have incident response, but they're typically doing that within the framework of the primary network, and that introduce exposure and interference.
That's absolutely correct. There are a lot of tools out there that they call themselves low code or no code tools that do a great job doing configuration, doing scanning, config drifts. They're able to check a plethora of things to make sure that your environment is secure. But the main problem is what happens if you don't have connectivity to your production network, or if you do have connectivity, the bad actor is manipulating the data so you don't see the correct information that you need to. So on an everyday basis, out-of-band offers, again, a completely separate secure network that you can use to channel your logs, your data, your console port logging and information, anything that you would want out of the out-of-band path into your security tool ingestion. So this way, all the information that's going through is going through a separate secure path and not impacted by the bad actor who can potentially block all that traffic. And on your worst day, being able to react to an incident, if you lose connectivity to a particular device or a particular appliance or a particular segment of the network, you don't have a way to get in and remediate the problem. Having this out-of-band solution gives you multiple ways, either from your out-of-band management network, or just jumping in through the good old console session serial connection and manipulating the data so you can actually recover the device that you need to.
So I think there's the last one is maintaining a reliable source of truth for the network configurations and data integrity. It's challenging with evolving security threats. Teams are using TPM, they're using secure copy, they're using data gathering solutions. But again, it's still same networking, same operating environment. And really the solution is to move it out of that one and put it into a secure alternative.
Absolutely. We talked a lot about your worst days and every days, but this is a great example of a first day scenario. Because the out-of-band network can be the first one coming up in an environment, like our solution, basically you can have it come up automatically and then deploy the rest of your network, both your production and your management. We can assist with most of it. You can use us as a channel, as a way to channel your source of truth. So if you have monitoring tools that gather data, pull configuration, and monitor to see what is connected, I think Tracy had some great examples there. You can channel all of that through our appliances to say, is this particular device that I'm deploying on the right version before I stand it up? Is there a random laptop connected that shouldn't be? So there's a lot of benefits of having all of this built out on your first day. And there's some great examples on every day, from having embedded TPM chips in our appliances to give you secure configuration storage. So you can you can securely store your configuration, your operating systems, your bin files, whatever you may have. So should something go wrong, you have a copy of it locally secured to be able to stand the environment back up. And another great example is just expanding the reach of your tools. So whether this is a monitoring tool, a security tool, running through a separate management fabric allows you to have more and more and more visibility to the infrastructure, so you can protect yourself from potential security threats before they even happen. Because ultimately the goal here is prevention, and the best way to save cost is to utilize your existing infrastructure, such as our appliances, to build a management fabric that can help you with this prevention. And with that said, that's all we had. If you have any questions, you may contact us. We have our website, opengear.com. There's a couple of blog posts, such as a how-to video series, as well as Networks Need Opengear, which talks about the benefits of an out-of-band solution, as well as our Twitter and LinkedIn posts.
All right, Ron, I don't know if you got questions but back to you, Ron.